What's up, everyone? Back for another Whodunit Beer review, and today's beer comes courtesy of a couple of very good friends of mine and fellow BeerTubers, Shaun and Mike, over at Nerdsense. So huge thanks to them for this beer in the description box. I'll post a link to their channel. To really just super nice guys. They will argue that fact, especially Mike, but really good guys, great content. They drink a lot of amazing beer, and they hooked me up with this one, which we'll talk about momentarily. But first, if you're unfamiliar with what Whodunit Beer reviews are, they are essentially blind/mystery beer reviews where somebody will wrap up and conceal a beer like Shaun and Mike did with this one. They will then either send or give me said beer, and I'll review it like I do any other beer on my channel, with the lone exception being, of course, I have no idea what the beer is. So at the end of the review, I try to guess the beer's style, its ABV, and if I'm feeling confident enough, I'll try to guess the exact beer, although that is very rare. I will then finally rate the beer before revealing it to both you and myself. So what do we know about this beer? Well, it seems to be in a 16 fluid ounce can. It comes from Shaun and Mike, and both of them reside in the New England region of the United States. And I know this beer is at least 6 months old, and that's because I got this beer from Shaun and Mike at BeerTuber 2022, which took place in late September of last year, which is why this beer is at least 6 months old. Now, why am I reviewing it now? Well, you know, with a lot of Whodunit beers, I haven't been drinking them recently, but that's not the case with this one. I actually completely forgot about this beer, and I just found it. So doing a little bit of spring cleaning, going through my actual fridge, not the fridge beer I have, just my regular fridge. And this was in a Ziploc bag on its side in the back of the fridge. So I have no idea why I forgot about this one, but I did. But better late than never. So we're going to review this one. Now, like I said, I got this at BeerTuber 2022. Everybody goes home with a ton of different beers. I came home probably with like a case of beer. It was insane. A lot of stuff just goes thrown in the fridge wherever I can make room. So this one got kind of lost. So unlike the Steven beers, which I wasn't reviewing for other reasons, like, you know, other beer mals and other fresher beers to try to get to, I just totally forgot about this one. So I apologize to Shaun and Mike, probably Shaun. He always wraps these up. And yeah, so I apologize, good sirs, but we're going to get to it right now. So like I said, I really don't know anything about this one other than it has the Nerdsense. They drew the Nerdsense logo on there, and it's #1. Now, I did the same thing for BeerTuber. I brought a couple mystery beers and I labeled them, I think, #1, #2, #3, and I brought a couple cans of each. Now, I don't know if they did the same or if they just brought like 3, 4, 5 different mystery beers and just labeled them #1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have no idea. I don't think I had any mystery beers from them at BeerTuber, so I don't think I know what this is or have an idea, but we will see as we review it. And we're going to crack this one open and get in the glass, and it went everywhere, and it is spewing out. So it looks like a darker beer. Let me clean this up. That went everywhere. That's unfortunate. So it looks like a darker beer, but it's I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of bubbling. So we're going to try to give this a pour into the glass. We will see how we do this. All right, something like this. So pouring it out definitely has some decent carbonation to it. We'll do something like this because I don't. The carbonation might be just insane. And, oh, it smells good. It smells pretty good. So that poured out, I would say not like, to me, this doesn't have like I don't know, it smells pretty boozy, actually. Now I'm taking that back, and I see some alcohol legs, although I don't know, I can't tell what alcohol legs are apparently, because a couple weeks ago I did a Whodunit from Steven, and I thought the beer was 9% and it was 5%. So, you know, anyway, in the glass, that is 100% pitch black. Okay, you can't see through it, hold up to light, it's that pitch black. In person, though, it's very dark brown. Has about a 2.5 finger of this dark brown, super, I mean, they're alcohol legs. This is a big beer, no questions. And if not, then something's wrong with me, but that looks like a huge beer. Anyway, let's get a nose. Yeah, I'm getting like cherry or raspberry or strawberry, some kind of berry or cherry. This smells like a chocolate cherry, just pretty big beer. There's definitely a lot of chocolate. It's like a sweeter dark chocolate. And then I think it's raspberry, which is what I'm getting. Yeah, I would say it's a raspberry chocolate, like imperial stout of some sort. What else am I getting? Maybe a tinge of vanilla. It doesn't smell barrel-aged at all. It smells a little boozy, though. So I would picture right now this is at least 9%. And as I sniff in, I'm definitely getting alcohol. Anything else? A little bit of roasted malt. But I'll be honest with you, that raspberry goes raspberry chocolate and then like vanilla and a little bit of roasted malt. It has a slight like tart kind of hint. Could be just from raspberries if there are raspberries in here or some kind of berry or cherry. Yeah, it smells interesting. I don't know what this is at all. I'm trying to think off the top of my head like a raspberry chocolate beer in a 16-ounce can that I would know about. The only raspberry chocolate beer I can think off the top of my head would be Founder's is a Big Luscious. But those, I'm pretty sure those used to be just in their stubby bottles. So anyway, I want to get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Shaun and Mike, and I do apologize. This is definitely, to me, on the back of the palate, there's an alcohol dryness and there's a bitterness. So I'm almost thinking like Russian Imperial Stout or just straight out American Imperial Stout. Not getting any barrel age, like actual spirit. And listen, you can go back a couple weeks ago when I did the Whodunit from Steven, that was a 4.9% dry hop wheat ale. A lot of times I mistake dryness from an oak barrel for dry hopped beers in general, especially if they're older. It just feels like there's just like this dryness. This has a bitterness. This is moderately bitter. So let's do body mouthfeel. Body's higher side, a medium, lower side of full. It's pretty big. There is a pretty nice creaminess to this. It has almost moderate carbonation, so it's not super soft, but it's smooth and creamy. It's nice from that aspect. But as this opens up, because I put this in, so I found this like 2 days ago when I was cleaning out the fridge. So I put it right into my darker beer fridge, like I do with all of my Whodunit beers, because I don't know what temperature to drink them at. So 54 seems fine. I'm glad this is 54. If this was in my regular fridge like it was for all that time and I drank it right from there without letting it warm up, I think I'd be having a little bit more issue pulling out flavors, but I'm not having that issue right now. I might be having the issue of what am I exactly tasting. So to me, right up front, you get a little bit of roasted malt. Then there's a lot of dark chocolate, but it's like in the taste more like a 40 or 50% cacao bar as opposed to like a sweeter dark chocolate I was getting in the nose. There's a little bit of vanilla. There's a touch of like a slight like black licorice. Passes through with the raspberry, hits about a third of the way, maybe half of the way through the palate. And it gives me this, I'm saying raspberry. I would not be surprised if it's strawberry or maybe cherry, but to me, I'm tasting raspberry. And as it continues to go on through the palate and finish, it gives me this slight tart, like almost acidic kind of character. And this finish is full on dry with a moderate bitterness. So it's pretty sweet up front, to be honest with you, but it dries out quite a bit. And obviously the bitterness kind of offsets the sweetness. I would guess this to be, if this is bigger than 10%, that's impressive, because while I am getting a little bit of alcohol, as my palate acclimates to this, I'd say this is probably no bigger than 10. I'm going to guess 9.5 on this. So I'm going to be curious to see how bad I miss on this. Although I have a little bit more confidence in this review right now as we speak. I feel like this is, so I'm not locking in yet, I'm just saying, I feel like this is Imperial Stout or Imperial Porter, but Imperial Stout that is brewed with some kind of chocolate. Could be cocoa nibs, could be cacao nibs, could be just, it says chocolate on there, and raspberry. And I think this is kind of like a, this is, you know, from, again, at the very least, this is 6 months old. So this isn't like a Valentine, it's not like this is a new mystery / whodunit beer that I'm drinking, but this is almost like Valentine's Zest. It has like that chocolate covered raspberry, chocolate covered strawberry vibe. So I think, and we're gonna, one more sip and I'm gonna lock it in. There's definite legs on here. So this is a bigger beer. I'm gonna say it's 9.5%. It could be bigger, but I struggle with the ABVs at this point. I've noticed that in like the last half dozen Whodunits, I've just foobarred them. So I'm thinking at least 9.5%. It's an Imperial Stout with some kind of chocolate. I'll just say cocoa nibs and raspberry. That's what I think. Imperial Stout, cocoa nibs, raspberry, 9.5%. I'm gonna pour the rest in and I will unveil the beer here. Ooh, I'm pouring it. There's, it looks like a lot of sludge here at the bottom. Let me take one more sip because I didn't like that. So that ramped up the intensity of what I think are berries. And you know what, though? There's a little bit of a sourness here again, tartness. I don't know if that's coming from, again, what I think the fruit character is. But I'm still going to lock in Imperial Stout. So Imperial Stout, cocoa nibs, strawberries, 9.5%. I don't have any idea what this is, and as far as like the brewery is concerned or anything like that. So we'll find out together. If it's bigger than 9.5, I'd be surprised, but it definitely has a warming. Could be like more around 10.5, but I'm still going to stick with 10 or 9.5. So what do we got here? Idle Hands. Ooh, so I'm off on the ABV. So I'm going to say, despite missing on the ABV, I did a pretty good job with this. So what is this? This is from Idle Hands Craft Ales. This is their Raspberry Torte, or Torte. And what is that exactly? It is a milk stout brewed with raspberries, cocoa, vanilla, and lactose. I said 9.5, it's 7.2. Now, one thing I noticed, and anybody out there who's a home brewer or brewer in general, now again, there is no date on here. Oh, there is. All right, so this is actually 2/23/22, right? So this right now, as I'm reviewing it, is just over 13 months old. Now, anybody out there, home brewer, Jesse over at Bumpy Road Brews, anybody who watches my channel, home brews, or brews in general, when these beers sit in the can, I know that they can, like Orval, for instance, you get the Brett, starts eating the sugar. In the bottle, it sometimes goes up by a percentage. Could that happen with this beer? Could this beer right now be 8% or 8.5%? Could that happen? Because what I am tasting right now is not 7.2. This smells and tastes like a big beer. Like I said, body's higher side of medium, lower side of full. Now, that might be from the lactose, but this definitely drinks like a bigger beer. So off on the ABV by 2.3%, which, you know, I didn't do a great job there, but I called out the raspberries, I called out the cocoa, I picked up on the vanilla. I didn't say lactose or milk stout, I said Imperial Stout. So I think I would give myself, for getting 2 of the 4 adjuncts and kind of knowing what this was, those specific flavors and the name and everything, I'm gonna give myself a straight on B, maybe a B+. I said Imperial Stout, it's a milk stout, and I didn't pick up on the lactose specifically, although I did get the vanilla, I did not lock it in. So that is what I'm going to get. So taste-wise, honestly, I really dig this. I always forget. I always say at the beginning, I do my spiel. I'm like, you know, I'm going to, then I rate the beer before revealing it to both you and I. I always forget to rate the beer. But honestly, I would give this. This is pretty fucking good. And shout out to Kyle and the Nerdsense boys and other folks who do these mystery beers. We always say that, like, we always forget to tell you how much we enjoy the beer because we're picking it apart. I really enjoy this one. I love that raspberry and chocolate character. It might be a little bit on the back end, a little bit more bitter and dry than I like personally, but this is quite tasty. So I'm going to give this beer right here, no issues giving this a low 4.25. I'd go 4.2 on this one. I think it's really tasty. I like Idle Hands stuff. I've had Idle Hands stuff courtesy of the Nerdsense boys. So what do you guys think I did on it in terms of grade? Like I said, I give myself a solid B, maybe into the B+ range, depending on how much you want to nitpick with like me calling Imperial Stout to milk stout and being off on the ABV. But I did pick up 2 of the main adjuncts, the first 2 listed. I think I did a pretty solid job. So I'm going to give myself a B. So huge thanks to Shaun and Mike for this one. It was a fun beer to do. Like I said, it's over 13 months old, but it's still drinking pretty fucking well. Yeah, I really dig that. I just, again, wish the bitterness and the dryness was just a little bit. Touch, just ramp it down just a smidge. But this, what did I say though when I was doing it? I was like, oh, I think this is like a Valentine's beer. Did they release this? Yeah, just after Valentine's Day, 2/23/22. So I think this is kind of like their Valentine's Day beer. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shaun or Mike, or anybody knows about Idle Hands. So anyway, I'm going to shut this one down next week. I don't think I have any more surprise mystery beers or whodunit beers. I have 3 left from Steven, and I will be drinking them over the next 3 weeks, and then I will have no more whodunit beers, but I'm trying to pump these out because I've waited too long. And again, apologies to Shaun and Mike, apologies to Steven, but you know, finally getting around to him. So anyway, huge thanks to everybody stopping by for another whodunit beer review here on the Beer Patrol. If you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Also, Shaun and or Mike, if you guys know the price point availability of this beer, I'd love if you threw it in the comment section. I'd really appreciate it. And until the next one, cheers.